first-round draft pick. What are your early thoughts on what you saw from him from 2 days of work and what stood out about it?
Obviously, coming from Georgia, he's played a lot of football, and Coach Schumann and Coach Kirby have done a good job with him. He understands football. He understands the little, the aspects of football that you need to have, and there's a base there that is easy to work with. So those guys at Georgia have done a really good job with probably all those players, but in particular Quay. So
I don't know how far back you dug into his film, but what was the difference that you saw from his junior year when he was still kind of ascending back up to when he really took off as a senior?
Well, I think just playing, especially at the level that Georgia's playing at. When you play, you're going to get better, especially when you can tell that he enjoys football, not just playing football. He enjoys the process of football and enjoys talking it, studying it, and doing those kinds of things. So when guys get the opportunity to go out and play it, they usually get better quicker, especially ones that athletically have some skill like he has. So I think that was the biggest ascension, just getting to know him, through this whole process and everything. I think the fact that, and it sounds funny that a football player likes football, but I think he likes all facets of football, not just, game day.
Kirk, we saw what one tall, rangy, athletic inside backer can do for a defense. What do you think two can give this defense with Walker paired with Devondre?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. We're at the baby steps of this whole thing and figuring everything out. We'll, we obviously have a plan. You don't take somebody at that pick, but we'll see. We'll see how the whole thing works out, and when we get it all together, I think. And you guys always hate when I do this, but every week's a new week, and we'll put them all in great positions and be ready to go. But I'm excited about it, and I'm excited that first of all he's just come in and just been the way that he is, just looking to work and trying to get things done and trying to figure things out. He's trying to get things to slow down on him. I think he'll probably tell you that right now. He's got things going pretty quick on him right now.
When did you get the sense that he was a realistic possibility for you guys in the first round?
Oh, I don't ever even get a sense like that. Like I just do the work and then give it to Matt and Goody and those guys, and I just I don't necessarily get a sense of any of those things, because I've had times where I thought I was going to get somebody. Early in my career, I used to chase around. Oh, I'm going to get him, and I didn't get him, or like, oh, I got no chance at that guy. Whoa, what's he doing there? So like, the draft is just so unpredictable in a lot of ways because you're relying on 31 other teams that I just kind of do the work and go from there.
From the end of the season to now, I mean, at your position alone, I mean, you re-signed the first-team All-Pro, first-round draft pick. Obviously, Chris is going into year 3. How excited are you knowing the commitment this organization is making to the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. First and foremost, all three of those guys that you mentioned, they're good guys and they like football, and they're and that's what's exciting to me, is that you get to come to work every day with good guys that are good players that have toughness, that you don't have to chase around all the time. And I'm hoping I don't have to chase Quay around. It doesn't seem like I'll have to, but that part of it, it's nice to come to work in those circumstances. And I've been lucky, since I've been here. You guys have always heard me talk about it. It's been a good room, and it's still a good room as far as being able to work with those guys. So it's fun.
You talked about some of those athletic skills that Quay has, 6'4", 240, 4'5". How rare in your experience is it to come across a backer with that kind of package? I
mean, there's a couple of them every year. Like it's good. I think it's it's rare in the human beings. There's not many of those sitting in this room right now. So we obviously, but he has a lot of that stuff. But again, those things only take you so far. It's the commitment and the mental makeup, and the fact that you're going to have to go through some stuff, and I think he's built the right way, and we're gonna try to help him out in that area too.
yesterday Joe Barry was talking about, with Dre, there's been times where he's took, Isaiah before and pointed to him and said, this is how you do it. Like, just follow him, everything he's doing on the field. I'm curious, now that he's getting more and more time in this, system, more time with you, how have you seen him sort of make an impact, Devondre, with some of the younger guys and being able to kind of impart some of his advice now onto them?
Yeah, the thing that, Dre gives advice at good times. He's not going to sit there and tell you what to do all the time, but he gives advice at good times. I try to make the atmosphere in our room one that everybody can talk, because you can learn from everybody in the room. And I even with the rookies, I've been talking about how I thought Isaiah McDuffie did one of the best jobs that I've been around at learning the new playbook and having a process for doing that. And, I've talked to them, and, Dre has all that experience behind him that is very useful, and he knows when to give it and how to give it. I think some of that is, the experience that he has as far as being in the NFL and knowing when guys are ready to listen. There's an old quote from Dusty Baker that talks about he was, a manager for 30-some years in baseball, and he said the worst mistake that we can make as coaches is to try to dump 32 years of knowledge into a guy in 10 minutes, So I think Dre has a sense of that also.
With Dre, I mean, he mentioned when we talked to him a couple months ago that he felt comfortable here because he was playing a true Mike for the first time in his career.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think position specialization helps these guys reach their potential or just reach another level of football player?
Yeah, I think, doing the same thing over and over helps you, and he had an opportunity, in this system, the linebackers, you have to learn techniques, and then from there you can apply them pretty easily, but, you have to know where to line up and know what technique you're in, and I think, Dre took to it pretty well, and he was able to just kind of be the player that he has been for a while, but he just got to specialize in what he's really, really good at. So, I think that did have something to do with it.
With Quay, he had the interception during the rookie camp on the Friday. Obviously, there's a bunch of guys out there who will never play football again, so I understand that. But what did you think of his coverage skill at Georgia? And then, again, with Ryan mentioning his size and his speed, what kind of weapon could he be in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's always better to be bigger and faster and stronger and all those kinds of things. It was nice to see that he could catch because, not all linebackers can catch real well. So, that part of it was nice to see. And, we'll see exactly where he's at. I'll be honest with you. When you look at him on film, he does some really good things athletically and does go after the ball and can make some things happen. But, there's a lot of moving parts, and we got a long way to go before I can all the way figure out exactly what we got there.
Two more. So, Kirk, going back to you and Dusty Baker, you have coached linebackers in this league for a really long time, and some of us have covered this team for a long time. We haven't seen linebackers that look like Quay and Dre. Is this a new type of inside linebacker? Have you had guys that have this kind of rare ability that's not in the room with size and athleticism, or do you see them being a lot different than when you coach?
Yeah, they come in all, especially at inside linebackers, they truly do come in all shapes and sizes. I coached London Fletcher, who was, 5'11", 2 something. London will get mad at me if I say what it was. But, they do come in all shapes and sizes. Length does matter. When being longer is better, in a lot of the coverage things, being able to shed blocks when you can keep people off of you. Those things are always good to have. I think you can do it a lot of different ways, but being big and athletic is always a plus, if that answers the question.
Well, the reason obviously Chris did a lot of good things for you, and he's not built the same way. And
Exactly.
Blake Martinez made a crap load of tackles during his time here, and
Yep.
some plays too. I'm just wondering, whatever the combination ends up being, because Quay's got to earn his time on the field. But do you see your defense being able to play vastly differently when you have two guys like that potentially in your mind?
I think there's more that there's some things that you can do that maybe we farmed out in other spots that you don't necessarily have to farm out, which helps you disguise what you're trying to do. I think that's probably, not to give too much away, but I think that's probably what advantage can happen, that offenses have to prepare for more things because you can be a little bit more multiple, if that makes sense.